Hello, hi, good morning. I have no idea how I'm going to be editing or presenting this video. It has been pretty stressful in our home the last couple of weeks. If I haven't already said this, depending on how I edit, we accidentally fell into a 2-week wait when I thought I was going to be starting my period. I actually was ovulating, and that was about cycle day somewhere between 42 and 45. I know my cycles have always been pretty long, but I've only had one period since Brooklyn was born in February, and that was in September near the end, and now it is the day before Thanksgiving. So today's the 27th. We found out that we are pregnant on Thursday the 21st. I got super light positives on the PregMate cheapies from Amazon. And I can try to show you my progression. Let's see if that will focus. So here's my progression, and this goes all the way to yesterday. I never get a super bold positive for my first morning urine. So today I did my second and third morning urine to see which one was darker. I saved both to see for the first response which one would be the darkest so that I can compare my first response as well. I can show you. Here are my progressions for my first response. That focus. So this was on the 23rd, this one was on the 25th, and this one was yesterday. So clearly they were getting darker as of yesterday. I am currently waiting for this one to process with the darkest urine from today. And then we got our digital Prego. We got that one also on the 23rd. Can you even see that? I think it wants to focus right on my face. Ooh. Okay, well, it says pregnant. So Thursday we got our first super faint positives, and then on Friday I started spotting, which I didn't really think much of because I know that implantation spotting can happen, and I know that I felt that I implanted the night before I got my first super duper light positive, which Josh couldn't see because I somehow can see every line even if it's actually negative. So Thursday, positive. Friday, brown spotting. Saturday, heavy bleeding. Talked to a nurse, and they said, I asked her, how concerning is it that I'm bleeding? I know that it's common, or at least not totally uncommon, and the nurse was like, to be honest with you, it's extremely concerning. Great. So I scheduled an appointment. Monday, I got my HCG levels drawn, and they were at 30. Of course, I have been on Google since I got that number 24 hours a day since then. And one thing that I didn't quite understand was that I got my digital positive on Saturday the 23rd, which would have been 11 DPO, which is actually super early for me to get any sort of positive. Usually it's like 11 or 12 DPO that I get any sort of like faintest squinty line, so that was kind of weird, but I absolutely know that I ovulated on the 12th. So that's not looking very promising. So this top one is from yesterday, and then the one below it is from today. So I guess you can already kind of see where this video might be going. Okay. So I was Googling, for one, why I got a positive digital 2 days prior to my levels being at 30. And I read that Clear Blue advertises that they show positives at 25. Although after reading forum after forum, I now know that they can show a positive on a digital under 8. So it was reassuring a little bit to read all of that, because then the numbers made sense if they were doubling every day or every 48 hours. Sorry, I'm like trying to ignore the faint positive. It's also used on my 3rd morning urine, so that's me grasping at straws by just saying that. We weren't trying, but we got attached. We told my parents, we told Sunday, and the bleeding has been on and off. Saturday was super heavy, and then no blood clots, and it wasn't like really dark, it was just bright. And Sunday it was pretty light, and then at the end of the day it was gone. Monday it was basically just spotting. Yesterday it was a little bit of spotting. Today it's just a little bit of spotting. I don't know if it's like a period, or if it's me miscarrying, or if it's something that's absolutely normal. When I saw my midwife on Monday, she said that she bled so much with her son that she was sure she was miscarrying. But he's 26 years old, so obviously that did not happen. So one thing that's keeping me somewhat positive is my PregMate progression line, which I'm probably not like most people in this, but I trust them more because I get my positives with them first, and because they're so cheap, you can test a gazillion times and see a true progression, rather than like, oh man, I wasted my first response on this pee. So if I look at the progressions from this morning, if I add those in, these bottom 2 are from today, which I honestly feel like is the darkest. This is my 3rd morning urine, and I feel like it's the darkest one I've gotten so far. It's questionable for like the 25th, so 2 days ago. That one was pretty dark, but I still truthfully think that the one I just did was the strongest. So I also know too that when I did this test yesterday, it did not look that dark. So this is from drying over the last 24-hour period. I'm actually gonna just take a picture of this because that way I can like compare just a little bit easier from what I got yesterday. So today I'm going back in for my next blood draw. I got my results around 2:45 in the afternoon on Monday, and I'm hoping that I can get my results around the same time today, if not earlier. We got a major snowstorm yesterday after not having any snow, so the roads are pretty bad. Josh is out there shoveling so that I can get out of the driveway, and then I'll be able to go, and I will update you as soon as I get those results. We started a bunch of projects that were supposed to be done by tomorrow for Thanksgiving. We have family coming into town, but of course I stopped working on all those projects because of the stress. So I will also update you on my symptoms after I get my levels back. Be back. Okay, so I thought I was recording when the doctor called, but my levels are at 38. So it was like an hour or maybe 2 hours short of 48 hours, but it went from 30 to 38. So it's like 29% increase. So things are not looking great. And then she also, it's just the nurse who called, and she said there's a chance of ectopic. So I'm hoping that that's not the case, because everything I've read is that once you have that, it's more likely for it to happen again. Also, obviously there's a lot of risks that come with it and pain and all of that. So I will say that I woke up a couple times throughout the night feeling less pregnant than I was yesterday and the days leading. I feel a little bit less nauseous today, but still there. So we'll just have to like wait and see, I guess. We have another blood draw on Friday. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so as of right now, I am thankful that I have the ability to be pregnant. I am thankful for currently being pregnant, and we're just going to take this one step at a time. We weren't trying to get pregnant for another about 6 months or so, but if this does end in a way that we don't want it to end, then we have the conversation ahead of us that we will either prevent for the next 6 months or so like we originally intended, or try, or not try, just let nature happen, because there's always the possibility that this could be the beginning of a long journey for us to have more kids. So taking it day by day, but for now, thankful that I'm pregnant and thankful that I have this experience to share. So I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and stay tuned for Friday's HCG levels. Okay, so today is Friday the 29th, the day after Thanksgiving. I just got back from labs and waiting for them to call to let me know. I have a feeling it's either going to be really good and I'm going to just be at total ease, or it's going to be that definite answer that things are not going well, and that's scary because I don't know what happens next. If my numbers are still rising, but only rising really slowly, I am sure they're going to want to check for like ectopic, and it creates so much anxiety for me because I don't know if I'm going to start feeling an immense amount of pain and, start bleeding a ton, and it's like what signs come next that, things aren't working out besides just my levels coming back poorly. So just trying to stay positive one way or the other, but there's a whole set of anxieties that come with whatever answer I get. Because if my numbers are great, I'm still not going to feel like we're in the clear, because there's something within me that says this is not okay. Something is not okay. And my bleeding, my spotting it increased a little bit yesterday. Still just spotting though, but it's enough to turn the inside of the toilet pink when I pee, and that's devastating to see every time. I had some more like intense cramping last night, but nothing that's painful. So now it's like every second I'm like, is this the moment that I'm losing this baby? Is that cramp just the beginning of some intense pain to come? Is that pinch in my back, the sign? I used to welcome even the worst symptoms of pregnancy, the nausea, the pinching sensations. I'm like, oh, it's just my baby growing, and those are all good signs. And now every little thing is paranoia and anxiety, and I just wish I knew what was going on. And unfortunately, I feel like even if I get answers on the numbers today, it's like there's no sure answer. I still won't feel at ease, even though I think I will. I just don't know. So, keep you guys updated. Okay, so today we got our HCG levels back from this morning's blood draw, and they were at an 8. So we know that the pregnancy ended within the last couple of days, which gives us a lot of closure now, knowing that we can just move forward without wondering if it's possibly ectopic or if the baby would continue to grow abnormally, or my numbers would continue to rise but not properly. So as hard as it is to know that it's over, it's a good way for us to move forward, knowing that it has just naturally come to an end without it being more traumatic than it has to be. We hugged for what seemed like an hour. We shared our tears, and we have family in town, and it's good to not be alone in times like this. And now we get to have the conversations if we're gonna wait to try. I mean, we weren't trying, but this could be a long journey, as it is for a lot of people. And we don't know if we want to try, or if we want to wait, or if we want to just let nature take its course. And right now we're just fortunate that it wasn't harder or further along or more painful than it needed to be. My bleeding did pick up a little bit today, and last night I did have cramping that started that became uncomfortable, and today it's been pretty uncomfortable. I also did take a pregnancy test again just to show my line progression, and on Wednesday I got the boldest positive that I've gotten so far, and already today on Friday it's barely there. It's less there than it was at 9 DPO when I got my very first positive. So those tests are very sensitive. I mean, you can still see the line, but for research sake and for me being as informative as I possibly can, I'll have a lot more in my actual blog with better pictures and all of that. so you can follow along if you have real questions. I mean, I try to get as scientific as I can, and I definitely try to get as much information as I can, so anyone else going through this similar situation can hopefully either have reassurance or just be more knowledgeable. It definitely has benefited me in this situation. The other wild thing that happened today is a series of unfortunate events has even brought me more closure to this in a positive way. We went out to eat dinner, and literally as we were walking outside of the restaurant, there was a major car accident that had happened from one car blowing a red light. And when we stood up from the table, I felt a small rush of blood, and I ended up going into the bathroom, and I was there for maybe a minute, and then we went outside to the restaurant. So had I not gone to the bathroom in that very moment, we would have been in the crosswalk right when that car ran a red light. And I mean, my daughters were there and our family was with us, and as far-fetched as it probably is, I do believe in the snowball effect, and I believe in timing. And had I not been pregnant, or had I not known that I was pregnant, who knows if we would have been in that crosswalk in that very moment. So even if I have to grasp at this small piece of, reality that happened to us today, and if I spin it in my own head to think, had I not had to go to the bathroom because of, the blood and because of the miscarriage, I don't know if we would have been in that crosswalk today. So I'm going to put that inside my heart, and I'm going to find peace that everything happens for a reason. If nothing else, I learned so much through this experience. I visited so many forums, I've talked to so many women, I've done so much research, and I feel much more prepared, and I also feel so much more fortunate that we even have the ability to have gotten pregnant. Josh's biggest piece of information that he took from this whole experience was that 75% of all pregnancies end in an early miscarriage like we had, and most women never know they were even pregnant. And I'm just so hyper aware of my body that I knew I was pregnant before a positive test even came. So if I had not been, I would not have known I was pregnant. I would have just had a crazy long period. I mean, it's been since last Friday I started spotting, so it's been a full week of on and off spotting and bleeding, and I probably would have just chalked this up to my hormones getting back into gear after having a baby. So I do have to go back next Friday to make sure my HCG levels return back to 0. The midwife said that I probably have experienced the worst, that I should just expect a normal period. So I am hoping that happens so that we can move forward and maybe try again, and hopefully we see a light at the end of this tunnel. So that is all I have for now. This has definitely helped me jump back into making videos, and maybe even has pointed me in more of a solid direction of where I want to go in making these videos. So it's really nice to be back, and I hope to hear from all of you. Thank you so much for watching.